You've probably been told that to get good with money, you need a budget. You need to track every dollar, cut back on every unnecessary expense, and basically live like you're broke. But what if that very mindset is the reason your budget never sticks? What if it's secretly keeping you in a cycle of financial stress? For decades, we've all heard the same advice: focus on restriction. Focus on what you can't do, what you can't buy, and what you must give up. It's a model built on scarcity, and the truth is, it's designed to fail. It assumes we're all rational, disciplined robots, but we're not. We are emotional beings, and our financial decisions are deeply tied to our feelings, our habits, and psychological triggers we don't even know we have. In this video, we're going to dismantle that broken model. We'll break down the psychological tricks and secret strategies that will finally make your money work for you without that restrictive, soul crushing feeling. It's time to stop budgeting like we're broke and start building a plan for the life we actually want to live. So, why do most budgets fail? It's a well known fact that a huge percentage of people who start a traditional budget quit, often within just a few months. This isn't a personal failing, it's a design flaw. The system itself is broken because it works against our fundamental human psychology. Let's start with the biggest problem: the psychology of restriction. Think about what happens when you go on an extreme crash diet. You cut your calories, you say no to everything you enjoy, and for a week or two, you might feel a surge of discipline. But what happens next? The deprivation creates intense psychological pressure. That restriction triggers a rebellion in your brain, and you eventually break, often binging on the very things you swore off. Traditional budgeting is the financial equivalent of a crash diet. It operates like a punishment system disguised as a financial plan. When you create a budget that says you can only spend $50 on fun this month, it doesn't inspire you. It makes you feel deprived. It fosters guilt and shame every time you make a normal purchase. Your brain's emotional center often overrides the logical part that made the budget in the first place. So when you inevitably cheat, it triggers an all or nothing response. You think, well, I've already messed up, so I might as well go all out. This leads to a cycle of restrictive budgeting followed by impulsive, guilt ridden spending, which only reinforces the belief that you're bad with money. The truth is, the system was bad for you. Sustainable financial change is never built on deprivation. And that brings us to the second fatal flaw: the broke mindset. Traditional budgeting forces you to constantly focus on what you lack. Every decision is filtered through a lens of scarcity. I can't afford that. There's not enough money. I need to cut back. This scarcity mindset is exhausting and stressful, keeping your brain in a state of constant anxiety. When you're always thinking about what you can't do, you're not thinking about what you can do. You're not focused on growth, opportunity, or abundance. You get so busy trying to save your way to wealth by clipping coupons that you miss the bigger picture. It's like trying to drive with the handbrake on. You can't save your way to true financial freedom. You have to earn, invest, and grow. Budgeting from scarcity trains you to play defense with your money. You're just trying not to lose. To truly build wealth, you have to switch to offense with a plan focused on your goals, not a list of rules and punishments. Finally, there's the fallacy of perfect tracking. The advice to track every single penny is one of the most common reasons people quit. It's incredibly tedious and overwhelming. The mental energy it takes to log every coffee and every parking meter is immense, leading to what's known as decision fatigue. Our brains can only make so many good decisions each day. And when you exhaust your mental resources on tiny transactions, you have less willpower for the big, important financial decisions. You end up majoring in the minors, so focused on a $3 latte that you don't have the mental bandwidth to negotiate a $10,000 raise, the kind of move that actually changes your financial future. What's more, this obsession with perfection creates a trap. The moment you miss one transaction, you feel like the whole budget is a failure. But life isn't perfect. Unexpected expenses are normal. A successful system doesn't demand perfection. It requires resilience and flexibility. People who are truly successful with money don't track every penny. They focus on the big picture and automate the important things. They know financial management isn't about discipline, it's about designing a system that makes good decisions easy. So if the old way is broken, what's the solution? It all starts with a fundamental mindset shift. We need to stop budgeting and start spending planning. Stop seeing it as a cage and start seeing it as a tool. This isn't just semantics, it's a profound change in perspective. A budget, as we've known it, is about restriction. A spending plan is about intention. It's not about what you can't have. It's about deciding what you want to have and creating a plan to get it. It's about consciously telling your money where to go instead of wondering where it all went at the end of the month. The goal isn't to feel broke, it's to feel in control. This shift begins with a process I call rewriting your money scripts. Money scripts are the unconscious beliefs you hold about money, usually developed in childhood, that dictate your financial behavior today. Maybe money was always a source of conflict in your house, so now you avoid dealing with it. Or maybe you were taught that money is the root of all evil, so you subconsciously sabotage your own success because you feel guilty about having it. These scripts run on autopilot and can undermine your best intentions. To change them, you first have to see them. A powerful way to do this is the how, what, why exercise. Think about a specific financial challenge you're facing, like, I can never seem to save money. Now, ask yourself, how does this show up in my life? E.g., I spend my whole paycheck before the next one arrives. If I get a bonus, I immediately spend it on something frivolous. What feelings does this bring up? E.g., anxiety, frustration, and shame. I feel like I'm not making any progress. Why might I be doing this? This is the deepest part. Trace it back. E.g., growing up, we lived paycheck to paycheck. Any extra money was a rare treat we had to enjoy immediately because we didn't know when we'd see it again. I learned money is for spending now, not saving for later. Once you identify that script, money is meant to be spent immediately. You can consciously rewrite it. You can challenge it with a new belief. Money is a tool to build security and freedom for my future self. Saving isn't deprivation. It's an act of kindness to the person I'll be in 10 years. By consciously reframing these beliefs, you can break the cycle of self-sabotage and start making choices that align with your long-term goals, not your inherited fears. This internal work is the non-negotiable foundation. You have to change your mind before you can change your money. Once you've started the mindset work, you can implement a new system. This isn't a rigid one-size-fits-all budget, but a flexible framework of strategies that work with your psychology. Here are the 5 new rules for a spending plan you'll actually stick with. Strategy 1. The pay yourself first revolution and the power of automation. This is the cornerstone of any successful financial plan and the ultimate antidote to willpower failure. The concept is simple. Before you pay rent, before you buy groceries, before you spend a single dollar, you pay yourself. The very first bill you pay each month is to your future self. This is a profound psychological shift. It reframes saving not as an afterthought for leftover money, but as your most important financial priority. Here's how to make it foolproof. Automation. Our brains are wired for present bias, meaning we overwhelmingly prefer immediate rewards, like new shoes today, over future gains, like a comfortable retirement. Willpower is a finite resource, and relying on it to manually save money each month is a losing battle. Automation bypasses willpower entirely. You set it up once, and the system does the work. As soon as your paycheck hits, set up automatic transfers to your savings, retirement, and investment accounts. It's the set it and forget it method. The money is moved before you even have a chance to miss it. This single act guarantees you're always making progress toward your goals, no matter how busy or unmotivated you feel. Strategy 2, the power of zero, give every dollar a job. This strategy, often called zero-based budgeting, is about pure intentionality. But forget the old restrictive version. Here, it's not about restricting dollars, it's about assigning them. The goal is simple. Your income minus your expenses, savings, and investments should equal zero. This doesn't mean your bank account is at zero. It means every dollar that comes in has a designated purpose. This method forces you to be the boss of your money. Instead of a vague pool of cash in your checking account, you proactively allocate your income to different categories. Your essentials, housing, utilities, transport, food, your automated savings from strategy 1, debt repayment, and most importantly, guilt-free spending. This creates incredible clarity. There's no more guessing. Can I afford this? You know exactly how much you've set aside for groceries, gas, or hobbies. This isn't about judging your spending. It's about making a conscious plan. You decide what's important and put your money there, eliminating mindless spending. Strategy 3, mental accounting magic and the fun fund philosophy. Psychologists use the term mental accounting to describe how we naturally separate our money into different mental buckets. For instance, you might treat a $500 tax refund differently than $500 from your salary. The refund feels like fun money, while your salary is serious money. Instead of fighting this quirk, let's use it. This is where the fun fund, your guilt-free spending money, becomes non-negotiable. Within your spending plan, you must create a category specifically for joy. This is your permission to spend fund. It's for lattes, dinner with friends, concert tickets, whatever brings you happiness. By explicitly budgeting for fun, you eliminate the guilt associated with spending. When you go out for that nice dinner, you're not cheating on your budget, you're successfully executing your plan. This is one of the most powerful techniques for making a financial plan sustainable because a life without joy isn't worth planning for. This is the core of budgeting, like you're building wealth. You plan for abundance, including an abundance of happiness. Now, this leads me to my next point, but before we dive in, let's do a quick check in. If you're finding this shift from a restrictive budget to an intentional spending plan helpful, do me a favor and hit that like button. It tells me this content is valuable and helps the channel reach more people who are ready to take control of their financial lives. Thanks for that. It really makes a difference. Now, let's get back to it. Strategy 4: prepare for reality with scenario budgeting. Life is unpredictable. A big reason traditional budgets fail is their rigidity. A single unexpected event, a car repair, a vet bill, can derail the whole plan and trigger that all or nothing feeling of failure. Scenario budgeting is a powerful strategy for building financial resilience. Instead of one rigid budget, you create three. The best case scenario: your budget for a great month. You get a bonus or have unusually low expenses. What will you do with the surplus? Decide ahead of time to prevent it from just disappearing. The most likely scenario: your standard monthly plan based on regular income and typical expenses. This is the one you'll follow most of the time. The worst case scenario: your emergency plan. What if you have a drop in income or a large unexpected expense? Which discretionary spending will you cut first? Mapping these scenarios out in advance removes panic from the equation. When a surprise hits, you don't scramble and feel like your world is falling apart. You simply shift to your worst case plan for that month. You already know what levers to pull. This transforms you from a reactive victim into a proactive manager of your finances. Strategy 5: make it social with loud budgeting. For generations, money has been a taboo topic. This culture of silence has created financial isolation and shame. Loud budgeting flips that on its head. It doesn't mean sharing your bank statements with the world. It simply means being open about your financial goals and spending priorities with people you trust. This could be as simple as telling your friends, "I can't do an expensive dinner out this weekend, but I'd love to host a game night. I'm really focused on saving for a down payment right now." Or it could be having a money buddy to check in with. The psychological power here is twofold. First, it creates accountability. You're more likely to follow through on goals you've stated out loud. Second, it normalizes money conversations and builds a supportive community. You might find your friends are also trying to save and are relieved you brought it up. It reduces the social pressure to overspend and replaces it with mutual encouragement. Once you have the core strategies in place, you can add another layer of psychological reinforcement. These are the small tricks that create big changes in behavior. Trick 1: understand your spending triggers. Most of our impulse spending isn't random, it's triggered by specific emotions or situations. Common triggers include stress: "I had a hard day, I deserve this," boredom: "I'm just scrolling on Amazon," or social pressure. A traditional budget does nothing to address these underlying drivers. To start, just become an observer of your own behavior. For 1 week, when you feel a strong urge to make an unplanned purchase, pause and ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? What just happened? Notice the pattern without judgment. Once you identify your triggers, you can develop healthier, non-financial coping strategies. If you spend when you're stressed, try a 15-minute walk or call a friend. If you spend when you're bored, have a list of free activities you enjoy. By finding an alternative response, you sever the automatic link between the emotion and the spending. Trick 2: gamify your progress. Our brains love to play games and get rewards. Traditional budgeting feels like a chore, but you can hijack this psychological need for fun and apply it to your finances. Gamification is about turning your financial journey into an engaging challenge with clear wins. For example, try a no spend challenge for a week where you only spend on absolute essentials. The goal isn't to deprive yourself forever, but to reset your spending habits or set up a system of rewards for hitting your goals. If you stick to your spending plan for a month, reward yourself with something you enjoy. Using money from your fun fund, of course. You can also create visual trackers like a chart you color in as you pay off debt. These small wins create a feedback loop of positive reinforcement, releasing dopamine that makes you feel good and motivates you to keep going. Trick 3: reframe value by thinking in hours worked. This is a simple but incredibly potent mental switch. The abstract number on a price tag doesn't always feel real. A $200 jacket might seem reasonable in the moment, but what if you reframed that price in terms of your time and life energy? Calculate your real hourly wage. Take your monthly after-tax income and divide it by the number of hours you work, including your commute. Let's say your real hourly wage is $25. Now, when you look at that $200 jacket, you don't see $200. You see 8 hours of my life, an entire day of work. Then you can ask the real question: is this jacket worth 8 hours of my time? Sometimes the answer might be yes, but this simple act of conversion forces you to evaluate purchases based on their true cost, your life force. It dramatically increases mindfulness and helps you curb impulse buys that aren't truly worth your time. Trick 4: engineer your environment with pre commitment. The most effective way to change your behavior is to make good choices easy and bad choices hard. This is called choice architecture. It's about proactively setting up your surroundings to support your goals because willpower is weak, but your environment is strong. This involves making pre commitments, decisions you make in a calm moment to prevent your future emotional self from making a bad choice. For example, unsubscribe from marketing emails from your favorite stores. You can't be tempted by a sale you don't see. Remove your saved credit card information from online shopping sites. The simple act of having to get up and find your wallet is often enough of a barrier to stop an impulse purchase. If you have a problem with credit card debt, literally freeze your card in a block of ice. It sounds silly, but it creates a mandatory cooling off period. Use tools like Rocket Money to easily identify and cancel forgotten subscriptions. This is a perfect example of engineering your environment to remove the invisible spending that sabotages your plan. By making tempting behaviors more difficult and desirable behaviors easier, you don't need to rely on discipline. You've created a system that naturally guides you toward better financial decisions. We've covered a lot, from deep mindset shifts to practical strategies. Now let's bring it all together. This isn't about perfectly implementing everything at once. It's about picking one or two things that resonate and starting there. The flow is simple. First, you start with the mindset shift, embracing an intentional spending plan over a restrictive budget. You get curious about your money scripts. Second, you establish your foundation with strategy 1. Pay yourself first through automation. This ensures you're always making progress. Third, you create clarity with strategy 2. Give every dollar a job. And critically, you use strategy 3, mental accounting, to build in a guilt-free fund, making your plan enjoyable and sustainable. To make this entire process easier, you can leverage technology. A tool like Rocket Money can act as your personal financial assistant. It helps you execute these strategies with less manual effort. For example, it automatically tracks your income and expenses, helping you see where your money is going, which is essential for creating your spending plan. It's especially powerful for engineering your environment, as it identifies all your recurring subscriptions in one place, allowing you to cancel the ones you no longer use with a few clicks. This directly combats the invisible spending that slowly bleeds your account. By combining these powerful psychological strategies with practical automation, you create a system that is both effective and easier to maintain. For too long, we've been sold a lie about budgeting. We've been told that financial responsibility means feeling restricted, guilty, and broke. But that approach fails because it's built on scarcity and punishment. The real path to financial control isn't about cutting back on everything. It's about consciously deciding what you want your money to do for you. It's about shifting from a broke mindset of limitation to a wealth mindset of intention. Today, we've outlined a new way forward. It starts with paying yourself first through automation, giving every dollar an intentional job, and most importantly, giving yourself permission to spend on joy without guilt. It's about understanding your psychological triggers and engineering your environment for success. It's about building a flexible spending plan that serves your life, not a rigid budget that confines it. Wealth isn't just about how much money you have. It's about having the freedom and peace of mind to live the life you truly value. Your challenge for this week is simple. First, identify just one money script you might be holding on to. What's one belief about money that could be holding you back? Just write it down. Second, identify one spending trigger. What's one emotion or situation that makes you want to spend? Awareness is the first and most powerful step. And if you want to dive deeper into building a flexible spending plan that works, make sure you subscribe. Check out this video next, where we break down exactly how to set up your automated money system in under an hour. Thank you for watching. Stop budgeting like you're broke. Start planning for the rich life you deserve.